Yo, what's pop, people? Cobra Star Green back with you guys in the building. Your first time finding my channel or anything, you guys love reviews, eating, explain stuff like that. You guys make sure you hit the subscribe button. I was like the video. Yes, you guys see from our scroll today. We're doing a review, spoiler review on Last Night in Soho. And at the same time, we're doing an ending explain towards the ending of the video. So you guys definitely stick around for that. But let's just get right into it. Now, when it came to this movie, I had never seen any type of trailers for it. I didn't know who even directed it. But my friends were telling me, oh, it's Edgar Wright that directed this. I'm like, okay, cool. What has Edgar Wright done? You know, what movies maybe that I've recognized Edgar Wright from? And they told me this movie, and I was like, oh yeah, I love this movie.
Yes, I do. That's too bad.
Baby Driver has to be like in my top 5 movie that I rewatched of all time. Like I think I've probably rewatched Baby Driver maybe around 20 times, maybe 20 to 30 times. And you know what really stood out to me about this movie is the sound design and the soundtrack they had along with the movie. That complete, like I know he you know what I'm saying, you see him driving and that's cool and all, it's that little Fast and Furious vibes, but the soundtrack to me is what put it over the top. So I was like, you're telling me he's going to be able to bring that soundtrack, you know, because he's really good nose for a good soundtrack, and he's gonna be able to put that in this new movie, A Last Night in Soho? I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely on board for this. Now, if y'all like the movie, we're gonna talk about it. So, without giving too much away, just really quickly, the plot of the movie is, look, if I'm being vague about it, it's just a girl, I'm sorry, a main actor, I think her name is Tomsini. Look, she's having some goddamn nightmares, and at the same time she's having nightmares, the nightmares are feeling real. When she wakes up, certain things are happening. So she's figuring out, oh wait, this is a real person that I'm dreaming of. So we end up going through the backstory of who she's dreaming of, and who she's dreaming of is this character named Sandy. That's who she's dreaming of. So we're getting that's what I like about this movie. We're getting 2 stories here. Not only are we getting Tom Sini's story and her going through her problems and dealing with them, but we're also getting a story of Sandy at the same exact time. Now, I think that really works really well, these two. Now, off rip, I'm going to say, I think her Anna Taylor-Joy, she does an amazing job in this film. She's like the co-actor. And she does such a great job in this film. Both of them do. Her and Tom Cena, they both do such a great job. Especially with like, there's certain scenes where they're together, and I'm like, yo, this definitely works. They do a really good job. I don't know if you guys have seen this movie called Candyman, but they do because the Candyman did a really good job of establishing mirror shots. You know, oh, this is a shot that you can see off a mirror and stuff like that. And Last Night in Soho does the exact same thing. Really, really well. It's not kills off mirrors, but it's learning and utilizing mirrors very well. So I definitely enjoyed those aspects of the movie. When they talk about the mirror, I love the damn mirrors and parts like that. Now, the next thing I want to say is about the story. I really, really enjoyed this compelling story you get to see right here, because not only is it a great, well thought of story, and it's actually unique in a couple of different ways, but at the same time, you understand you get to live through someone else. You know, what I'm gonna say is, and it's kind of bothered me when you first see the movie, you might see it too, but when we first get introduced to Tom Cena, and she ends up going off to college, and she even just gets there, and it's like, not like her taxi driver is completely weird, everybody else is just weirdos and stuff like that, even her roommates are just weird and bullish for no reason, I felt like. And I was like, why are they doing this? And then you kind of get deeper into the story, and you're like, oh, they were establishing this tone for this, you know, for the other story we're getting. So we're getting 2 stories here at once. And I was just like, I don't think they had to go that far to establish the tone. Like, I understand, like, we had to feel sorry for a certain character, for her. But it's just like, bro, not everybody in this world acts like complete jerks or the weirdest people you ever meet. I was like, I don't know why they had to completely establish something like that. And there's also something that doesn't make any sense. I'll talk about what doesn't make any sense in just a second. But I remember somebody asked me how the pacing of the film was. The film is, I think, 2 hours. And I think it was fine. There was certain parts of Last Night in Soho that, I'm not gonna lie, they could have cut a scene here, cut a scene there. Some scenes kind of drag just a little bit, but I don't think you'll be bothered by it at all. I didn't really feel the 2 hour runtime like that, like I should have. So I think the pacing of the film is fine, y'all. It is nothing to be worried about. Next thing I'm gonna say, man, before I really get into like the ending and stuff like that, the sound design, like I said earlier, sound design, soundtrack, and it's so perfect because it's based off the 60s. So we get all that 60s music at the same time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Edgar Wright is in its element right here. Like, man, that soundtrack you see throughout the film, oh my god, it is so good. It's the reason why, like, I praise like Mafia 2 or the Mafia game so much, because the soundtrack is so good. And it is the same exact way here. It is so good. I will say, the visual you see in this movie it's not too gory. I know it is rated R, but aside from a couple of kills you see towards the ending of the film, it's not that damn gory. So I honestly don't know why it's rated R, because the kills they shown, they could have cut away from that to make it PG-13, to be honest. Like, y'all didn't really have to show the kills like that. But yeah, now I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to like the second act, when we start to really understand, we start to go through Sandy's story in the second act, the movie turns into a full-on horror story. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, if y'all see the movie, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. But in the second act, I'm telling you, when we get deeper into her story, which I'm going to say, I really enjoyed her story when we got to go into her mind, living her life. When we actually went through that, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this works. You know, I like it. I like the story with her. But I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I tell you, that second half, it turns into a complete horror story. You get ghosts in there, and what I hate about these movies, I hate movies like this, right? And I'm gonna spoil it right now, right? Before I get really into the ending, there is ghosts in the film, right? And I was always wondering, I'm like, why are these ghosts not doing more than what they're supposed to be doing? And of course, it's established in the film, towards the end of the film, that the ghosts are actually the good guys. But throughout the film, they look like complete jerks. Like, we not rooting for these ghosts at all in the film, because if you know the backstory behind the ghosts, well, they was not being nice to certain girls. Like, every showgirl was doing pleasures for these ghosts, or for these people. I'm gonna call them demons, because that's what they are. They're freaking demons. So to make it at the end of the film where we're kind of like, oh, these ghosts ain't too bad, nah, I don't feel like that works. Nah, man, these dudes are complete jerk. Now, I'm not saying they got what was coming to them. I'm not saying that. But I mean, they should have been rotting in jail for years. I'll say that one. But like, I don't know. I just don't like the way they flipped that. I'm actually gonna talk about the ending and then get into my rating and stuff like that. This will be going into the ending explained. I think the movie kind of falls apart just a little bit, and that's just me. And I'll talk about why. So this will be pretty much ending explained stuff. So pretty much, like I said, we're going through the film, and Tom Savini is trying to pretty much save Anna, aka Sandy, in the film. And we get two plot twists at the same time. So the whole entire film, Thomasini's believing that she figured out who's the one that killed Sandy, and she thinks it's this creepy old dude, which I thought it was his butt too, because you keep seeing him being creepy. But we end up figuring out that no, he wasn't the guy that was behind it all. It was actually somebody else that I believe in. That she ended up killing him a long time ago. But we ended up figuring out that this guy's name was just Silver. He wasn't the one that was behind the killing of Sandy. So that was one of the plot twists right there. And it was funny how he died, though. I ain't gonna lie. When he died by getting ran over, I had to bust out laughing. I was like, so we just figured out that he was not the main person that was doing all this stuff. He was there, but he wasn't the main dude. But right after we figured that out, this dude gets ran over by a car. I busted out laughing, man. I was like, man, they didn't give that no time to breathe. They didn't give what we just witnessed no time to breathe before he got killed off. But the second plot twist, I think this plot twist was done really, really well. So, like I said before, we are going through and we're not only getting one story of Thomasini, but we're also getting another story at the same time of Sandy. So we're trying to go through and we're figuring out, okay, who the heck killed Sandy? What happened to Sandy, right? And we end up figuring out towards the end of the film that Sandy actually is still alive, and that Sandy is Thomasini's landlord in the film. So now that was a really cool a plot twist, but I wish they would have just kept it there. They kind of kept going with it because it was kind of like, okay, now that you know who I really am, because you told the cops that you had seen ghosts and stuff like that. Because Thomasini was telling the cops and everybody that she had seen ghosts and stuff. So now they came to the apartment. They were like, ask landlord, hey, all these questions, so whatever. Right. So what I did not like about the film is that, okay, cool, we figure out who Sandy's still alive, cool, right? But no, Sandy tries to take her out. Like and I don't get that. You know, maybe that's just personally me. I didn't get it because I'm like, we literally spent hours going through her story. So we're actually, and at the same time, Thomasini's on her side. Throughout the film, she's like, oh, I'm trying to figure out. She's going through it with us. She's trying to figure out exactly who killed or what happened to Sandy. So I just did not get, when it came to the ending of the film, Sandy, aka her landlord, was like, oh, I gotta kill you now. I'm like, we literally went through your life. So we understand what you're going. Now, look, you didn't have to kill those guys, but we understand what you're going through. There's no reason to try to kill her. There's no reason, right? So I just did not like that. Now, Sandy ends up dying at the end of the film because she's like, F this, I ain't going back to jail. You know what I'm saying? She's like, F this, I ain't going to jail. So that's how Sandy ends up dying. But I just didn't like that ending. I'm just like, man, the two plot twists, cool. Sandy being the plot twist and her being the landlord, cool. But I'm like, why do they have to go against each other? That didn't make any sense to me. And even towards the ending of the film, Sandy, because I remember throughout the movie, her mom is a Wang thought on her. You know, she keeps seeing her mom, right? But at the end of the movie, she starts seeing Sandy, and I'm just like, why? I don't understand why they went against each other. We literally spent pretty much the entire movie on your side. We were trying to help you in certain situations. So why are you trying to kill? It didn't make any sense to me, honestly. That part to me just did not make sense. I like the plot twist. I just didn't like how they executed them and when they just kept it going. I didn't like that. But I will say, I don't care. Past all of that, there's some great performances here. I gotta give another praise to another character. He's not even like one of the main characters, but he's here and there. His name is Matt Smith, aka Jack, in the film. And the way his character is, boy, you think he a nice boy? He wanted to work. I think he is the worst out of all of them. So how they really wrote his character, and they didn't speed rush anything. You kind of see glimpses early on, but you don't see too much. But how they really wrote Jack's character, I really respected. I'm like, they really did a great job, and Matt Smith did a great job, I would say, with this role. Now, I'm gonna talk about something I really didn't like. I know John does a great job too. That's her love interest you see in the film. But so going in, staying with the little ending spot. There's a part in there where like she's getting chased by these ghosts, right? And we end up figuring out later on that the ghosts were trying to help her the entire time. And I'm like, and at the end, I'm like, look, I'm not siding with these ghosts either. These ghosts were abusing these chicks. Why? I don't get what's going on. Like, it doesn't. There's too many like plot twists going on. You know, like a second I'm rooting for this character, but now I'm not supposed to be rooting for that character. A second I'm not rooting for his character. Now I'm rooting for his character. You know, I like, man, no, like, no, keep the ghosts the villains. Why at the end of the movie are they like, no, bro, she's actually the bad one? No, y'all abused that chick. I'm not siding with none of y'all at this point, you know. So I don't know, man. Really quick, Thomasini's seeing these goddamn flashes the whole entire time, and she's seeing these ghosts show up. And there's a certain point she picks up this knife and she's like, F it, I'm about to fight the ghost back, right? And she's about to stab. She's stabbing the ghost. And her boyfriend in the movie, John, ends up stopping her because she was about to kill her roommate. And this is crazy. It might be a little nitpick. But we see her by the side of the roommate. John stops her, right? I'm like, okay, cool. The roommate's like, call security. And the crazy thing is, when she walked out and like left or wherever the hell she went, we never saw her in the film ever again. I'm like, why do they never like, yo, where I'm from, that is attempted murder. First of all, the only one detective was even believing her story. You know, so I'm like, why do they not revisit this? Like, yo, she's good to go now? I'm like, yo, she damn near, she just trying to kill somebody. I know they didn't see it like that. They didn't see what we seen. But it's kind of like, yo, like, she just got off with attempted murder like that? I don't know. They all let it go. I don't know. Mental issues, whatever. But I'm just like, but I get it. It's a movie, Cobra. It's a movie. Whatever. You got me. So, with saying all that, you know, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed this film without saying too much. The story we get, the very, very well done, compelling story you get of not only one character, but it's literally two separate movies we have going on. And I think the way the director did it was Edgar Wright did it, was so well thought out and so great that it's like, yo, you did a great job with this one. I will give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll ever see it again. There's just, like I said, if you give aside from a couple of things that don't make any sense, I think you'll be fine with this one. Because I think I was the only one that was nitpicking that crap. Because to me, it didn't make any sense. But I think the performances you get from all the characters, and like I said, I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. I think this is definitely a go see it. You don't gotta see it on IMAX. You can just wherever, Dolby or anything like however say I just seen your screen. But hey, with saying that, y'all first time finding my channel, hit the subscribe button, all that video. Tell me your thoughts, complaints, criticisms, stuff like that down below. Hey, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.